Welcome, everybody. It's New Comic Book Day, and we're going to be discussing Canadians, comic books, cakes, and casinos with Cliff. Welcome.
Yeah. Shout out to Madness. Yeah. Rogue Nation 845. Bro. What's good, Council of Comics? You know what it is. It's New Comic Book Day. It's just strange because it's sun and it's raining. So I guess we get two different kinds of blessings out here. But we're at the Alternaverse. Let's see who's inside. It's always something different. Different people every week, but usually the same core. Let's go check out what we got. Let's go. Shroud.
How about the devil?
What's up?
How are you?
It's
How are you this fine, sunny American day?
sunny and rainy, which I just captured, which is very beautiful.
Oh, did you get like the rain and the sun together?
Yeah.
How are you?
Chilling. Good, Loki. Bro.
You missed the heck of the show. And I was the only American there that wasn't a guest.
What's up, there,
What's
kid?
going on, brother?
Chilling? What's up, there?
How's it going?
Good.
How you doing?
Chilling?
Good. Cliff's back from Canada.
Yup. Comics, Canadians, and Cliff.
And casinos and cakes.
Wow, the 5 C's.
Yo, the French bakery shop that's run by a Vietnamese family that's 5 miles up the road from my aunt. It's like fantastic. And like they have young French Canadians like working the front counter,
Yeah.
but like the entire back, they're all Vietnamese. They're all back there making these mousses, these creams, opera cake, which is not a small feat, and it's just gorgeous, and they own it. But like, they're like, but the front of the house is like, yeah, young French Canadians. And I'm just like, okay, but it was so good. They had an almond croissant there that everybody loved, but I don't like almonds, so I didn't even touch it. They had a chocolate croissant that I ate, so it's just like a beautiful like fold over, and then like the chocolate like glaze on the inside, and that was great. And then we had those the fruit tarts with like the custard on the inside. So they were like the smaller ones, all delicious. They had the opera cake, which is just layers and layers and layers of like chocolate and ganache and cake and creams. Chocolate ganache is when you like melt it down and then like you either use it to make like a perfect glaze, or you let it harden up and use it like a frosting. So unlike buttercream, so if you've had a chocolate buttercream cake, it's that like soft, like buttery, like you could crystallize sugary taste when you eat it. No, but a ganache, it's like firm, it's delicious, and it's rich, and you just know it's chocolate. Funny, but fine. Shit on my ideas. Oh my god, I have so many things to say about Canada. Like, first day, the first thing I said to my cousin Scott, and I'm like, why has Canada not embraced Alpha Flight? And I was like, fine, you don't like Alpha Flight. Embrace Wolverine, for God's sakes. Why hasn't Canada adopted Wolverine as a national mascot, right? Like, I don't understand. And then he's like, like Alpha Flight doesn't really read very well, especially after all these years. It's like Puck's saying A like every 5 seconds. And I'm like, yeah. But, I mean, it was cool. We got there. We got some exclusives.
Where'd you go? The audience has no idea what you're talking about.
Well, it's Ottawa Comic Con in Ottawa, Ontario, which is the capital of the country of Canada. It's this giant sector of North America that's north of us that exists across a border that's usually crossed through bridge points. Okay? Yes. So, my father was born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario. So that's why I visited and I have family there. And he actually, so Parliament agreed and the Prime Minister arranged, and of course my details on this are not entirely clear, for veterans of World War II to get a home when they came back from the war. So my grandfather and my grandmother got a home with zero interest rate, right? So like you still had to pay for it, but zero interest rates. Like when I was a kid around 9, he still had like $102 to pay off on it at zero interest in the 80s. Go figure. It was like 2 floors and a basement, and the basement wasn't finished till much later in life. So they raised all 6 kids in that house, and the dining room wasn't even a dining room until people started to move out. Like the 6 kids slept in what would have been the dining room, what eventually became the dining room. Anyhow, all the stuff, great piece of history. Canada's interesting, you know. Hey, we have a Canadian to thank for basketball, so there you go. So I went up there, and this whole thing started with I haven't seen my family in 7 years. The last time I went to Canada was like for my grandmother's funeral, and I really want to go, but with COVID, everything is so like murky. And I was like, oh well, maybe Ottawa Comic Con. They kept pushing Ottawa Comic Con because again, COVID, right? So this year it's happening. I'm like, okay. So I talk about it with my mom, and we message one of my aunts and uncles, and back and forth, and then it starts really becoming a thing. And so I was like, okay, and then I got a really good deal on the hotel across the street from the convention center, which is at the airport. So like that worked out really well. So I was like, all right, that's it. We're doing it. This is how we're going to do it. 4 nights. I email my uncle, his 2 daughters. And then one of those cousins, I asked her about brunch, and she's like, I got it. And then she arranged for like 17 of us to have brunch on Sunday so we could have like a mini family reunion at Rogers, which is another funny thing. It used to be called Robbie's, and it was like the worst Italian food on the face of the earth. And my grandfather loved it, so we would go, we would eat there and like whatever, but it was basically terrible. And now that it's Rogers, it's like, and I think it's the same family that owns it, like a new generation, it's so much better. And the breakfast was fantastic. Pancakes, twice the size of my face, amazing. All right. Canada Comic Con. So Ottawa Comic Con, I bought the pass for the weekend. I didn't know my cousin had the deluxe pass, so he's in there before me, and this dude is like, I'm like, oh my god, the lights are off. Like, I didn't know that I was there too early. It didn't dawn on me. I thought I went in at the normal time. I thought it was 12 already. It was like 11:50. So he's just like, I'm looking at him, I was like, so what's going on with the lights? Like, why is everything dark, right? And he's like, sir, he's like, you should go around. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you have a regular guest ticket, like go to the waiting area. I'm like, oh my god, is it not open yet? Is that what you're telling me? And you know, because like I'm like looking at him, like I'm because it's one of those things like, why are you talking to me like this, right? And I'm trying not to be that American guy, and I'm literally the whole American the whole weekend, like except for the other guests, except for Gail Simone, her husband Scott, and except for Dan Parent and his 2 other buddies there who are also selling comics. Everybody else is friggin' Canadian. Every car is Canadian. I'm the only New York license on the whole freaking road, the only American. It's hilarious. So anyhow, I go in the waiting room. I'll text my cousin. He's like, I'll come to the front to meet you. So just when we meet up front, I was like, oh, I found him, right? And then we're standing right in front where the guy kicked me out. And he's like, and it's like, oh, okay, you can go in now. And I'm like, unbelievable. So now, so first thing I learned is next time buy the deluxe pass. There's regular, there's deluxe, and there's VIP.
What's the difference in price?
Oh, the deluxe was like 20 more.
What's up, guys? Got not too many books today. An Amazing Spidey, Wolverine action, Venom. I got the inferior cover because I mostly have to get cover A's or else I go crazy. But cover B is really nice. And The Must, King Spawn.
Yes.
This is the first appearance of him?
Yeah.
Oh, Raven Spawn.
Yeah.
They finally put him in. So he's just gonna do all the toys now. He's gonna put all the toys in the canon.
Yeah, he's got the animated show coming out too.
Ah, okay.
Of like the side characters like Cyborg.
Oh, okay.
What is it? Cyborg? Yeah, Cyborg. Coming
Cyborg
out on Netflix.
Overkill and everything.
Yeah, coming out on Netflix.
Okay, that's cool.
So.
Yeah, that's it. We didn't get the DC books today, but yeah, I would have gotten Batman versus Robin. Mark Waid, I think, is writing it. So
Very nice.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. Thanks, guys.
The VIP was like 80 or 85 more. So then I went in and I'm looking around, and then I see like the typical Comic-Con booth where like, oh, buy your exclusives here, and I'm like, okay, and then I see Batman 125 Ottawa Comic-Con exclusive, and I was like, oh well, let's do this. So I got the foil cover, and I got the Virgin cover, and I got the Ottawa cover, and whatever. Actually none of them say Ottawa Comic-Con, but at least but it's cool. And it was Pacelli. You may know the artist. I can't think of it. Or Male Pacelli. Or maybe Sarah Pacelli. But yeah. Yeah, but it's a variant for a con, so who knows? Well, we'll find out one day when I dig those covers back up. So, oh my god, I put it in the chat. How dare you guys? It's in the chat. You're supposed to pay attention to all these terrible things that I'm posting in the chat always. Let's see. Where are all the effects? This is where, come on. Media and files. Load them. I'm sorry, I'm wasting everyone's time. This is terrible. Also, Wu-Tang Clan, I found out, it has an amazing impact in Canada. Because the Ottawa Food Bank was collapsing, financially and spiritually. And Wu-Tang Clan came in and saved it. And so all these people.
Wu-Tang is for the babies.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, what was that?
That's what ODB ran on the
kids.
Wu-Tang is for the kids.
I wasn't sure how I was going to take that all of a sudden.
That was a moment in history, Cliff.
I was going to say, but you kind of butchered it with that language, and I was like, what are we doing? Come on, Batman covers.
I think he says that in the song though too.
Here, when it loads, tell me if you recognize the artist. Alright, so yeah, that was really funny. This guy's got this Wu-Tang Ottawa thing, and I'm like, I'm sorry, tell me, what is happening with the shirt? As he explains the whole thing to me. Paquette, that's it! The covers are by Paquette. So, anyhow, this dude selling comics, he's like, yeah, Wu-Tang's here, they were selling these shirts, and then they're selling the shirts through, I think, the 36chambers.org website. You want to help the Ottawa, food pantry, of course, and all their other amazing organizations that Wu-Tang is helping in Canada. And so yeah, there was all this Canadian love for Wu-Tang, and I was like, oh my god, how is this? It was just blowing my mind. What was Wu-Tang even like? How were they on each other's radar? But it was really cool. The only American station I got in my hotel was NBC4 Detroit. So I got all sorts of wild news from Detroit that I was like, what? I'm like, we're a mess. So my cousin and I, we talked to that dude. He was really cool. We went. I was trying to shop for some comics. It's such a mess packing. I packed no comics with me, none. So I'm just trying to buy something so I can have stuff for people to sign. So I found one a Gale Batgirl comic, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'm taking this. So we go and see her. We talk to her. So there's this dude there in front of us online, and he has gifts for her, and then he reveals himself to be the mysterious donor of her Captain America piece that sits behind her in her office that he spent $7,000 on. And they're like, well, of course a Canadian did this. So they try to invite, her and her husband Scott try to invite him to dinner and stuff. He's like, no, take care of everybody else. And I'm like, dude, she's trying to invite you to dinner. I was like, we'll just stand here in line and we'll be fine. Right? But I think he just wants to stay anonymous forever, and just took off. And I'm just like, damn it. And I was like, am I gonna follow this? But her husband Scott was cool. He told me about their visit to Puerto Rico, how it was just amazing. Everybody was so nice, so kind, so wonderful with them. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And and he kind of remembered me, which made me feel so good, because I haven't seen Gail in 12 years, so I didn't expect her to remember me. And so like that was nice. And then my cousin had the Red Sonja omnibus, and she signed that for him. That was cool. And then we saw Dungeons and Dragons and Dice, D&D and Dragons. Anthony, do you remember the guy who works on D&D and D? He has like, I know, this dude. He worked on D&D and D. I've seen him at a few shows. He comes to Albany Comic Con. I had no idea he's Canadian. He's talking mad smack. So my cousin buys this hardcover D&D and D, right? And he opens it and he starts drawing and painting a dragon's head in the cover. This is shameful because we're gonna see him in October again.
What's good, Council of Comics? I'm back. I'm here to do my picks. You know what this is. This ain't Cliff's picks. This ain't Steve's picks. This isn't Anthony's picks. Not Franklin's. Not Joey's. And not Paul's. Alright? So starting off, we have Miss Marvel and Venom. Number 1, Peach Momoko. You know I'm a big Peach Momoko fan. Very nice. You watch your mouth over there when you're talking about Momoko. Amazing Spider-Man number 9, cover A. The John Romita Jr. Wolverine and Spidey cover. Cover B. The Gleason cover. I think this is probably the best one. Pretty dope. We got Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, Judgment Day number 4, which is pretty dope because it's a Momoko. We love that. We still don't know who this is, who did this one, but this is a great Captain America cover for Judgment Day. Very nice. And the Luciano, what is it? Luciano what?
Vecchio,
Luciano Vecchio.
you watch your mouth, okay? He's Argentinian,
Oh,
alright?
oh, my
And
bad.
Italian, alright? He's
I got the Italian part. I got the Italian part right. Anyway, you did a beautiful cover. It's beautiful.
That's right. It's a
Beautiful.
beautiful band.
Beautiful cover.
art.
We got Samurai Doggy number 2. I'm extending my love for another issue. We shall see. Vampirella Mind Warp number 1. Pretty dope cover. Anybody know who did this cover? No? Pretty dope cover. Savage Avengers number 5. Conan is back. He's dead, but he's back. We're gonna see where they send him off to because Marvel's losing the rights to Conan. Urix Lee for that Vampirella. Lyrics Lee. Sorry, Lyrics Lee. Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 27. Bounty Hunters is a dope book from Star Wars. I also got the Choose Your Destiny Darth Tyrannus cover. Very nice. Obi-Wan. We got the Lionel, how do you say Lionel Francis Hugh. Dope old Obi-Wan. Yeah, I'm butchering names. I don't care.
We are gonna have a master class.
I don't care if I
We're gonna
butcher
have a
names.
master class.
I said the name.
Because no one was butchering Sam Roland in high
Look
school.
at that.
That's
Look at
why.
that. He's butchering it already.
What, Roland? Or should I say Roland?
Look at that.
Or should I say Roland, like that guy, like the freaking high school teacher? Remember that douche? You remember him? Calling you Sam Roland every freaking day?
The shots.
You know? When he made fun of that Jamaican kid? You remember that? Because he wore cleats to gym class? Remember that guy?
Enough.
Him.
Enough.
That's why we work on names in this place.
Obi-Wan, number 5, the Choose Your Destiny variant. This is the Skier variant. And the Nodo, regular cover A, pretty dope. Venom number 10. This is a key book, it's cover B, because cover A is King Spawn cover A. You know I love me some Spawn. Shout out to Todd McFarlane. And we got the key for the, I forget which Spawn this guy. Raven Spawn, I think it is. Yeah, because it's got Ravens. But still, pretty dope. Midnight Suns, you know they got a video game coming out. So it's #1. This is the Nakayama cover. And do we know who did this cover? Do we have any idea?
No, but apparently they weren't allowed to use a different color wheel.
Yeah, same color palette. What's going on here? Here, hand him that. We're gonna find out who this artist is. We're gonna find out. Picked up in the back bin. Kazar, Lord of the Savage Land #1. Momoko. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Back to this Midnight Suns, Nakayama. Pretty dope. What do you got for the cover B? Alright, his first name's Federico. Figure it all out later. It's alright, it's a gorgeous cover, Federico. Alright? Okay, those are my picks. None of these guys' picks. They're my picks. You remember that, alright? We'll see you guys later. Peace.
So like, and that's him. That's Sam behind the camera. You better be ready. Don't miss
That's me.
Right. So he just starts freaking drawing and painting this dragon head for my cousin. While we're talking, he just starts talking all this mad junk about Ottawa. I'm like, dude, are you from here? Are you Canadian? He goes, yeah, I grew up like 10 minutes from here. I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, can't wait to see you in Albany. So I'm gonna be ready for him. And like that was great. We talked to Marco Ruby, who's French Canadian, it turns out. And he's worked on Power Rangers, and he has a graphic novel that we both picked up while we were there, and that was cool. And then we saw George St. Pierre the next day, who had a panel that was extremely late. The panel was supposed to be at 12:30. It started at like 2:30. You've never seen so many people waiting around in a room for somebody, but he was wonderful and brilliant. He quoted Aristotle, and I love him more than ever before. And then in my hotel lobby, I got to smell him for 5 seconds. It was great. And
You went up and you sniffed.
no, we crossed paths. We crossed paths.
Sure. You crossed paths.
Anthony, you see me cross paths and smell somebody. You know.
Like Fabulous View, like floating on the
Yeah, no, it very much is that. And he's French Canadian, so good call. So, but no, he was like cool. Of course, I'm taller than him. And I wish I could remember the French dude who I was following around all weekend, because he also was like smelled wonderful and like, was like French Canadian and selling artwork. And like I talked to him in the elevator at the end because like I'm a mess, But he has a girlfriend, so like whatever. But still, like I only talked to the guy at the very last day we're on the elevator. We're going upstairs to our rooms to pack our stuff. I was like, "How was the show? My cousin bought a piece from you." Blah blah blah. I'm an idiot. And like that was cool. Seeing my family was cool. The comic book shop in Nepean, Ontario. That place was really great. I had a good time there. Their manager, Steve, shout out to Steve, great job. The staff is lovely. They have their bags are color coded for size, right? So like the orange bag is like the big bag for prestige stuff. But like everything's sorted. Like they have so like anything prior to the 2000s is back issues like towards the front of the store, and then if you go around back to the back of the store, it's all back issues with wall units that were hand built, by the way, of like everything from like the 2000 forward, right? And then they have stuff hanging on the wall, whatever, typical things. And like, oh my God, but they had the toys, they had the kits to build, those like Macross figures and all that. And they had their own CGC books or whatever. And I was like, do you guys have any like exclusive comics? Because they have more than one location. They have 2 in Ontario. And because like there's one downtown. And I'm like, no, the last one we did was the Godzilla one. And I laughed because I was like, oh yeah, my buddy did that one too. So yeah, Anthony's got them beat on store exclusive. So come and pick them up. And hopefully we'll have a new one soon. Steven. So, did I leave anything out? The casino was fun, but it broke my mom's butt. That's a bad story. The Canadians are great. The cakes are delicious. French baking up there is amazing. I don't know who taught them, but someone taught them and taught them well.
I would assume the French.
And the thing is, the French.
You would think, but you know, that's like saying the English came to Wyoming and taught them how to make cheese.
No, but weren't the French part of the people that...
Right, but just like the British were part of our shit too. Like at a certain point, you gotta let go and exchange hands, right? So like, that's what I'm saying.
Let go and
Like the pastry shop I stopped at is owned and run by Vietnamese family, and like the front end is like just young French Canadians running the front end, but like the whole back end is this Vietnamese family. Like, where did they learn the art of French pastry making and beautiful, what's it called, mille-feuilles? Anyhow, it's like a Napoleon, except like one layer is like a particular cream, and then the other layer is custard. Oh my god, it was so good. So anyhow, yeah, Canada, highly recommend. Oh, and it's $1.26 to every American dollar, so there's that. That's very nice. And I picked up some Silver Surfers while I was at the comic book shop, and that made me happy. And and I picked up the giant size Superboy and Legion of Superheroes from back in the day. You know, what is that format called, Anthony? The big ass comic, the magazine, the Prestige. No, bigger than magazine size. Remember the big ones? But you know what I'm talking about, like the Amazing World of Superman, like that size. No, not modern, Anthony. I'm talking about like the 70s. Treasury Edition. That was it. I got Superboy and Legion of Superheroes Treasury Edition. That was it. All right, I've talked enough about it. Thank you. Of Superboy and Legion of Superheroes, yes. I own two. I have the Justice League one at home, and I have the Amazing World of Superman one at home. And this time I picked up the Superboy and the Legion one.
Hey, so of course D23 passed recently, so here's, the Mandalorian's coming back. Here's an old school Mandalorian. This is a Boba Fett. So these Dark Horse books all heating up, of course, specifically like Clone Wars #1, the first Ahsoka. She's getting her own series. So there's one book. And then of course, the X-Men are coming back for the cartoon. And this is a Nakayama #1. This is based off of the cartoon, the old cartoon, as if it continued in Hickman's era with they have Krakoa in play.
Really?
So that's what this book is about, and this is a Nakayama variant that he signed, CGC 9.8. So just kind of something else to show off. Again, sort of like connecting to the idea of what they've been showing off at D23. You saw Magneto's taking over the team of X-Men. And then, of course, also for DC, it's the 30th anniversary of the Death of Superman. So here is the original Death of Superman still in the bag. Just kind of, just a classic book. A couple things to show off, kind of comic book history. Yeah. Tomorrow, of course, Lady Death returns. So we've got this. Just a little shout out to Brian Polito too, but yeah, Coffin Comics still doing well after all these years. Stuff from the 90s. But yeah, thanks. See all you guys soon. Peace out.
Hi, welcome to Cliff's Corner, where this week, there's no reprints to complain about. Except Amazing Spider-Man #6. It wasn't a good issue to begin with. Why is there a second printing? Who even cares? Whoever you are, good luck. Alright, so Judgment Day #4 is out, and I got the Luciano Vecchio cover, because of course I have to. It's beautiful. I love him. X-Men Red #6, because it's another crossover. And Midnight Suns #1 because it's #1. And not even a crossover. It should be interesting though. Unbelievable. I mean, I do like Liana.
Nakayama.
Yeah, no, and that's a beautiful cover. The DC books are late, but I'm gonna pick up Superman Son of Kal-El. And what else is coming up for DC this week?
Detective Comics.
Yeah, nothing I care about. So like, at least Son of Kal-El. I mean, who knows? Whatever else I surprise myself with. I was gonna say something about other comics, but I love a light week. It's good for me. It's good for my wallet. It's good for my mental health.
Hey, yeah.
It's a wonderful time. So thanks for joining me here at Cliff's Corner, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us in Comic Book Day. We'll see all of you soon. Peace out.
Guys, you have a good week. See you next week.
You get peace out to the crowd.
Peace out. See you guys next time.
Ha ha ha.